Hello guys! In this video, you'll learn how to send data using SKYVVA Batch from SAP BTP Integration Suite to Salesforce. Introduction. This integration flow contains three main architecture components: the sender business application, SAP BTP Integration Suite as the middleware, and Salesforce as the receiver business application. In this example, Postman is the sender. Inside SAP BTP Integration Suite, the flow contains the HTTPS adapter, the integration process iFlow, and the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter. Inside Salesforce, the SKYVVA component receives and processes the data. Sender and HTTPS adapter. In this example, Postman acts as the sender business application and sends a record through an HTTPS request. The request is received by the HTTPS adapter inside SAP BTP Integration Suite. In a real integration scenario, you can use another sender application and a supported sender adapter based on your integration requirements. HTTPS adapter to iFlow. The HTTPS adapter receives the incoming request inside SAP BTP Integration Suite and passes the record into the integration process iFlow. Integration process iFlow. Inside SAP BTP Integration Suite, the integration process iFlow processes the incoming data according to the configured integration requirements. The actual processing logic can differ depending on the use case. SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter. After the integration processing is completed, the record reaches the end event. The SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter, which is also inside SAP BTP Integration Suite, sends the processed record to the SKYVVA component inside Salesforce. This adapter connection is the main focus of the integration flow. Create batch basket. When the SKYVVA component inside Salesforce receives the record, it creates a batch basket containing the received data. The batch basket stores the record and prepares it for processing. Processing and target object. SKYVVA processes the batch basket inside Salesforce. After processing is completed successfully, the record is delivered to the configured target Salesforce object. Verification. Finally, we can verify the batch basket and receive records in SKYVVA. We can then confirm that the record was processed successfully and delivered to the target Salesforce object. Now, let's start. Here you can see SAP BTP Integration Suite screen. And look at the integration flow used for this demonstration. On the left side, we have the sender. The sender represents the external system that starts the integration by sending data into SAP BTP Integration Suite. For this demonstration, we use Postman as the external sender system, and we use the HTTPS adapter to receive the request from Postman. However, Postman and HTTPS are only used as an example in this demo. In a real integration scenario, the sender system and sender adapter can be different. You should configure them based on your integration requirements and the system you need to connect with. Now, let's look at the HTTPS adapter configuration. In this example, the HTTPS adapter has already been configured, so we'll review the main settings used for this demonstration. As mentioned earlier, we are using Postman as the sender system and HTTPS as the sender adapter only for this test scenario. The HTTPS adapter provides the endpoint that allows Postman to send the request into this integration flow. Here, we can see the configured address. This address is part of the endpoint that we will use later when sending our test request from Postman. Now, let's look at the integration process. After the record is received through the HTTPS adapter, it enters the integration process. Inside the integration process, we can configure the required processing logic based on our integration requirements. The processing logic can be different depending on the integration use case. In this demonstration, we use a simple flow, so after the record is received, it continues through the integration process and reaches the end event. Next, we'll connect the end event to the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter, which will send the processed record from SAP BTP Integration Suite to SKYVVA. Click here, connect it to the receiver. Then find the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter and select it. Now, we have successfully connected the integration process to the receiver using the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter. As you can see here, the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter is now part of our integration flow. After the record completes the integration process, it is passed to the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter. The adapter then sends the record from SAP BTP Integration Suite to SKYVVA. Before we can send any records to SKYVVA, we need to establish the connection between SAP BTP Integration Suite and SKYVVA. First, let's look at the General tab. Here, we can see the basic information about the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter, including the receiver direction, adapter type, transport protocol, and message protocol. Next, let's move to the Connection tab to configure the connection to SKYVVA. Here, we configure the authentication information that the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter uses to establish the connection. For the authentication type, in this example, we select OAuth 2. For OAuth 2 flow, we support client credential and username password credential. This example, we select client credential. The login URL specifies the Salesforce environment that the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter will connect to. The client credential refers to the credential configured for OAuth authentication, which allows the adapter to securely authenticate with Salesforce. Once the connection settings are configured, we can move to the SKYVVA tab. First, select the SKYVVA API version that we want to use. We support v2 and v3. In this example, we select v3. With v3, we specify the integration and interface that will receive the record in SKYVVA. For this case, we also need to configure the interface on the SKYVVA side. This interface defines where the incoming record will be received and how it will be processed in SKYVVA. Now, let's go to SKYVVA and look at the existing interface. Here, we already have an inbound interface configured. The interface is linked to the message type, and the required field mappings are already completed. We will use this interface to receive the record sent from SAP BTP Integration Suite through the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter. Go back to SAP BTP screen. Now, we enter the names of the existing integration and interface that we showed earlier. This connects the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter to the correct interface configured in SKYVVA. For the mode, SKYVVA supports several processing options, including synchronous, asynchronous, Salesforce bulk, SKYVVA Batch, and SKYVVA bulk. In this video, our goal is to send records from SAP BTP Integration Suite to SKYVVA, create a batch basket, and then process to Salesforce. Therefore, we select the SKYVVA Batch. For the other processing modes, you can find separate videos on the SKYVVA YouTube channel. Next, we configure the request format and response format. In this case, we use XML for both the request sent to SKYVVA and the response returned from SKYVVA. Now, the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter configuration is complete. Let's test our main use case. A record will be sent from SAP BTP Integration Suite through the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter to SKYVVA. SKYVVA will receive the record and create a batch basket. Then, SKYVVA processes the batch basket and sends the record to Salesforce. Next, let's deploy the integration flow and test the complete process. Click Deploy. Click Yes. Click OK. Here you can see the integration flow is started. Once the deployment is successful and the flow is started, it is ready to receive records from the sender. Now, let's start the processing. Go to the Postman. Here is the payload that we want to send from Postman. It contains 10 records. When we start the processing, we expect the records to be sent from Postman through the HTTPS adapter, pass through the integration process, and then be sent to SKYVVA through the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter. Because we are using SKYVVA Batch mode, we expect SKYVVA to create one batch basket containing all 10 records. After that, the batch basket will be processed and the records will be sent to Salesforce. Now click Send. Now, the request has been sent successfully. As we can see, the response returns HTTP status 200 and confirms that the batch basket has been created successfully in SKYVVA. Go to the batch control board to see the result. See? One batch basket has been created successfully, and it contains all 10 records that we sent from SAP BTP Integration Suite. This confirms that the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter successfully transferred the records from SAP BTP Integration Suite to SKYVVA. Next, we'll process this batch basket and send the 10 records to Salesforce. The batch basket can be processed either manually or automatically by a scheduler, depending on your requirements. For this demonstration, we'll process the batch basket manually. Once the batch basket processing is complete, the records are sent to Salesforce. Go to Salesforce to verify the result. As you can see, all 10 records have been created successfully in Salesforce, as expected. Go to the SKYVVA Message Monitor. As you can see, one complete message has been created, containing all 10 records as expected. This confirms that the batch basket was processed successfully and all 10 records were sent to Salesforce. The SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter provides the connection to send records directly from SAP BTP Integration Suite to SKYVVA. In our example, we use SKYVVA Batch mode. The adapter sent 10 records to SKYVVA, where one batch basket containing all 10 records was created. We then processed the batch basket, and SKYVVA successfully sent all 10 records to Salesforce. So, with the SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter, we can connect SAP BTP Integration Suite with SKYVVA and use SKYVVA's processing capabilities to deliver the data to Salesforce. To summarize, this integration contains 3 main architecture components: the Sender Business Application, SAP BTP Integration Suite as the middleware, and Salesforce as the Receiver Business Application. The sender passes the record to the HTTPS adapter inside SAP BTP Integration Suite. The integration process iFlow handles the record according to the configured requirements. The SKYVVA Salesforce Adapter then sends the processed record to the SKYVVA component inside Salesforce. SKYVVA creates and processes a batch basket before delivering the record to the target Salesforce object. Finally, we verify the batch basket, received record, and target object inside Salesforce. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.